AM 1460, the new WXBR. You are listening to the Metro South Morning Show, PM in the AM. Peter Zimbor here with you on this Tuesday morning. And from one Peter to another, I'm now joined by the man who is a successful solo artist and well-known as the lead singer of the J Geils Band. Joining me right now via the telephone is Peter Wolf. Peter, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Well, good to be here and having a nice hot cup of tea. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. You just told me off the air that you were actually a listener of WXBR from time to time. You're kind of a radio junkie.
Oh, yeah. I really love regional radio. I think that's what's wrong with radio. There's not enough regional radio, so growing up on radio, radio played such an important part in my musical knowledge. And then becoming a DJ, I got the radio bug. So once you're there, you just can't leave it.
You're a guy that is well known for your music career, but you were a radio DJ for WBCN, which is now defunct as early as the late 60s, correct?
Yeah, that's gone.
That's gone, unfortunately. Have you picked up that book about its demise lately? I've been meaning to.
Yes, I have. By Carter Allen, who is a program director. And I was on the first night of BCN. I was the second jock on. The first jock went on at 10 p.m., and I went on from the midnight hour into 6 in the morning.
And we want to talk a little bit about your music career and these shows you have coming up. But how have you seen radio change over the years with the internet, satellite radio, and the demise of a lot of independently owned radio stations, i.e. the folks in Marshfield, the folks here in Brockton? We're kind of the last of the Mohegans in some senses.
Well, actually you just answered the question. Because it's all the corporatizing of radio stations, the taking away of the mom and pop stations, and just putting it all together and under one big corporate umbrella, and you have one big corporate umbrella fighting another, and then people get so consumed with ratings and this and that it's lost the distinction that I used to love about radio. It still exists. There's some great regional radio, and there's some great college radio, but radio as a whole is pretty well been neutered out, in my humble opinion.
If folks want to work at a commercial radio station nowadays, there's more or less a playlist set up for them of what songs to and to not play. Back in the day, did you have free reign as to what you could play, or did you have playlists and program directors telling you what to do as well?
Well, when I was growing up and listening to radio, people really had, the DJ was his own program director, music director. He decided what he wanted to play. And when I was on BCN as the Wolf Goof Mama Tupa Hapaloofa, I played anything I wanted. So I played anything from Van Morrison to Muddy Waters to Howlin' Wolf to Roland Kirk. It was Thelonious Monk. Anything goes.
Once again, we're chatting with Peter Wolf here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. Peter, you're playing a plethora of shows in the Massachusetts area over the next few weeks. Tomorrow and Thursday night, you'll be in Natick, Massachusetts, Sunday in Salisbury, then back here in October, south of us in Fall River. What's the purpose of these shows? You haven't released an album in a few years. You just like getting out there and playing?
Yeah, we like playing. We're putting together a live record. And that's part of one of the reasons. But basically, we just love getting out there, getting on the highways and byways and performing. And sometimes we just do it to do it.
When you take a look at all of the material you've had during the duration of your career, both as a solo artist and with the J Geils Band, and you consider the fact that you're looking to record a live album through these performances, how do you come up with a set list?
Well, that's fun. Usually you put out a whole pile of pieces of paper, and a lot of times with the Midnight Travelers, the band I'm traveling with now, who are really some exquisite players, we sit around and we just all, chat about it, and by the end of a couple of beers or a couple of bourbons, it's all pretty well figured out.
Now, you're a guy that has played venues both large and small. You toured with Bon Jovi. You opened some shows for Aerosmith in recent years with the J Geils Band. With your solo performances, you play some lesser-known and smaller venues. Do you like the intimacy that you get in the smaller venues and in places that may not get rock acts coming to their town every week or every night?
Yeah, I do like the smaller venues, and especially with the solo band, because the music that I grew up loving, people like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, and even Bob Dylan, I saw all these people in small little intimate places where at most there was a couple of hundred people. So, I mean, I remember when Bob Dylan first started at Gertie's, I got to see him. When I saw John Lee Hooker, it was at a small club, Muddy Waters. And, you know, before the rock and roll explosion, even, you know, the Fillmore East, which housed where we played with the Allman Brothers and so many different people, they weren't that big venues. So I grew up in small places, and it has its own personality. And playing large stadiums has another personality. They're just you know, a different kind of thing.
You mentioned some legendary acts that you saw growing up, aspiring to be a musician. What's the best concert you've ever been to as a spectator, and the best one you've ever been a part of as a musician?
Well, that's a difficult question, but I would say the first concert I ever was at probably had the most influence on me, because at that concert was Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, Buddy Holly, Dion and the Belmonts, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, Dickie Doo and the Don'ts, and the Chantels, just to name a few. So that was all in one evening.
Bunch of legendary acts right there. And the best concert,
I would say so.
What's the best concert you've ever been a part of yourself?
Oh, they're all good. It's like saying, what's the best love making you ever made? You know, it's like when it's good, it's good.
And you remember the bad ones because you say, never again.
Yeah, you can remember the bad ones a lot easier. But, you know, fortunately, I've had, you know, there's nothing that, there's been a lot of great ones. So, you know, performing with the Stones and performing with Muddy Waters, playing with Van Morrison. I just did a thing with Bob Dylan, Wilco, and My Morning Jacket. So, you know, there's so many of them. It's hard to pick one.
Well, Peter, I know that you are currently amidst rehearsals and don't have very much time. You're actually rehearsing right now as we speak to you, right?
Yeah, I just jumped out of the rehearsal room now. But I'd love to. Hope you come to the Narrows, and love to see all the friends down out there in the Brockton area. And matter of fact, last time I was in Brockton was going to see Bob Dylan at the ballpark there.
Yeah, I played with Willie Nelson at Campanelli Stadium a few years back. I was at that show myself. I snuck in too. Yeah, it was a fun one. Well, Peter Wolf, I thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. I know you're short for time. We'll remind the folks listening that you're performing at the Center for the Arts in Natick tomorrow and Thursday night, Sunday in Salisbury, and you'll be south of us in Fall River, October the 12th. We thank you so much for coming on the program, and we'd love to have you on. And if you can't get tickets for those, we're going to be up in Maine. You can check on the Facebook or my website, peterwolf.com, and it'll bring you right up to date. And we'd love to have you on the program again sometime when you got more time, Peter. Let's do it. We got more time, and I'll come down there, bring some records, and we'll howl. Absolutely. You come on down to Brockton. We'd love to have you. That's Peter Wolf joining us here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. We'll step aside for a quick break. Back with more of PM in the AM after this.